was lost, the treaty signed, was not caught across the line.
Alright, so guys, True Detective Season 2 is now over, and we are left with the biggest question of all is, are they going to do a Season 3? Now, there's a lot of people saying that Season 2 just completely fell apart, and they don't see it going in any good direction at all, so it might not merit being able to have a Season 3. Now, I really do hope that they do, and I think that they will, and I'll tell you why. Now, HBO doesn't like to admit that they're wrong. I'm sure as a company, they just need to reevaluate this. It just had a bad season. Critics didn't really like it. Viewership dropped off a little bit. They're going to really look at it as an example and see what they can do to fix it. Dropping a problem is not the answer. Solving the problem is. Now, what the problem is, we don't really know exactly. For sure, I think the time frame of the show, the first season probably had a much larger time frame for their development and writing, and every single in and out of that had a much more time probably was taken for that. Season 2 probably wasn't. It probably was just kind of done, rushed a little bit. It just seems like that, and it kind of just, when you do that with something so intricate and so interesting like this, it falls apart. So I'd like to see probably the time frame extended, not do anything in 2016 at all, bring it back in 2017, and probably consider that the last season. Maybe not etch it in stone, but think of it in your head as like bringing it back for one last time, and this is how we're going to do it. So figure that as a bookend to like a trilogy of these episodic stories. They're going to completely refresh it again, obviously. They're not going to go back to occult stuff, and they're not going to do, like, the mobster inner workings of the cities and stuff like that. They're going to go into something else. Now, what else is a question that everybody is going to have for a very long time, probably. But, I'm sure you guys have your own opinions what it should be about, and I'll have mine. But, yeah, there's that. So let's focus on the who. Who's going to be in the next season? I think they're going to lower the cast. I think HBO is definitely going to focus more on trying to get them to kind of focus a little bit just on the 2-character casting. I don't think that necessarily is what went wrong with the second season, but the characters weren't as developed and not etched in stone, so it kind of might have been better if there was more time spent with 2 of the individual characters as opposed to 4 or 5. What will it be about? Now, I have my own opinions. I think that they should probably step a little bit forward as opposed to what's happening kind of in the country right now with like the internet and laws and Big Brother and privacy and all that stuff. But also the fact that there are crimes being committed through mobile computing devices and all that stuff. Information being taken and people getting hired to murder people all through the internet, which is kind of scary if you think about something like that you have access to kills people, basically. Where will it take place? I'm thinking it's going to be probably either like Las Vegas, New York, or maybe even like DC. I'm thinking they might go into the cities and really get into that like grittiness of just like the overabundance of people, maybe, and just all that stuff. Might be interesting. When it'll take place will probably be a little bit more in the future. Again, I think if you're considering this as the last season, it would be a really good book ending for the first season to be a little bit more in the past, the second one to be in the current, and then the third one to kind of go more towards the future. Again, I don't know if it's going to get 4 seasons, and if it does, they can kind of go back and refresh the format if they needed to. But I think it would be good to approach this as a last season, potentially. So why make a 3rd season? I think it would basically, like HBO probably wants to do, show that it's not really, a bad show. It's not a bad show. It is actually a really good show. If you cut the first season off, the second season is still a decent show. It's still a decent show, acting-wise, and even interesting, intricate story pieces and parts. It just didn't come together. So where they would go now, I think I would love them to go into the dark side of the internet. Use a ARG, which is a alternate reality game, and get the people back into it and try to get them down the rabbit hole. turn them into kind of like the detectives and kind of make it a little bit like cybercrime. Now, you don't want to go over people's heads too much with it. You don't want to make it too boring. You don't want to make it all about the technical. But you definitely want to make it interesting, and you want to make it about, something that people have access to and people can relate to, which would be technology and the internet and all the stuff behind that. So I would love to see something like that. And then partner up with maybe like an artist or something for the third season and try to get something really hashed out, put together very well. I know Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails did an album with an ARG that did very good. I thought it was very interesting and very successful. And I know he approached HBO about making a TV show even about that album. So it would be interesting if they partnered those two together. I know he's working with David Fincher a lot now for the soundtracks. It would be cool if he, worked on the TV show too. So that's basically it. I put together some of the music that might have been if Trent was to do it. And just let me know what you think. Let me know what you think is going to happen in season 3, if it's going to get green light, if it's not, if they're going to give it time, if they're going to pull the show away from the director and make it their own thing. A lot of things could happen, but I'm going to probably put my money on that season 3 will happen. So let me know what you think of the video, and thanks.